You're listening to the Things Podcast, brought to you by the Things Industries.
Hi, everybody. This is Alix Paultre, and I'm at the Things Conference today with Satyajit Sinha, and he's with IoT Analytics. And I'm really glad to see you here today because there's a lot going on in the space and we could use some analysis.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, tell us a little bit about IoT Analytics. What does the company actually do in the analytics space?
Great. So we are a market intelligence provider. We provide market intelligence to general IoT community from chipset to cloud. However, past few years, we are expanding beyond IoT. We are moving into AI, edge AI, automotive data center, and expanding beyond IoT as well.
Got it. So, the customer comes to you and they're looking for insights into the application space or into the technologies to address the application space?
I mean, it's both. So the vendors, most of the vendors, OEMs that comes to us to get the insights, which market to target, where is the opportunity next, and the end users comes to understand which OEM they should go for, which solution makes sense for them. So it's a both side, but we generally serve most of the OEMs who are here and the technology community, help them to make the right decisions based on the market analysis that we do.
Got it, Sanchit. Now, when you think about that space, right, because the IoT is obviously a very big space, not the greatest terminology because it's really an extension of the connected electronic world, as it were, the ecosystem.
Yeah.
Of the new spaces that you're seeing, what would you say are the most interesting and innovative spaces? Where are we really seeing some new art and creativity?
I mean, for sure, edge AI, this is something is very important. That is something coming up very fast because IoT predominantly had relied on cloud infrastructure, and which makes sense and still gonna make sense going forward. But I think the new architecture is edge and hybrid both. We're using edge devices, and the hybrid means you are using both edge and cloud. And it is important because the data that is generating right now from these IoT devices require quick actions. So to do quick action, you need to process those data where data is generated, which is basically edge. So that's why I think we are seeing that edge AI becoming a very important for even IoT space and automotive space, where you need to compute those data where the data is generated. But computation is one level, which is edge computing, but inferencing the AI model on top of that is the more important now. So edge AI is coming to the edge and creating this space very interesting right now.
Well, I was thinking about that as well, because in my mind, a lot of edge AI is going to be like first line selection, right? So let's talk about facial recognition, right? So that AI camera will have maybe a 90% of pass rate.
Okay.
And so it's not 100% sure. So what it does is it might say, hey, what about this person or what about this face? And then send that back to the server. Right. So you were saying hybrid. So you got most of the fast decision making happening in the edge, but then the deep deliberation happens in the cloud.
Exactly. I mean, this is what hybrid we are seeing in many parts of the industry. Machine vision is one of them, where you are seeing that most of the quick actions are done at the edge, but it's based on the prompt. So for example, there is a model called vision language models. And vision language models is basically the natural language models that you use and encode with vision encoders. And the first line of inferencing that is happening on the edge. But if you want to do deep analysis on something, on large language model, which has 8 billion parameter, and you don't want to use your edge for that, you want to use edge for 3 billion parameters, you can send those prompts to the cloud and do that. In automotive space, actually, last week actually, I was in IAA Munich, and I saw this was that coming up that the driver giving a prompt, and AI agent within the cockpit is deciding if this prompt should inference at the edge or at the cloud. So hybrid environment is also coming up in the IoT and automotive space as well.
Well, and the interesting thing is, what I always like to observe is, the more things change, the more things stay the same. French say, plus de change, plus de même chose.
Okay.
This all happened before, when it was the server in the basement, and you had the dumb terminals on the desktop, and it was all in one building.
Correct.
But it was a network in the building, and it was a server-oriented. Then they put PCs on the, edge. They're moving the computers to the edge.
Correct.
And it's the same thing happening all over again.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, this is, I had a talk yesterday about Edge AI, and I was talking about the same thing, that Edge is coming back because Edge was before there as well. So if you see point of sales terminal, it has a complete use cycle. It was first in the mainframe, it came to mini computers, it again went back to cloud, and then is again coming back to as a MPUS terminal. So point of sales terminal has this full circle coming from mainframe again to the point of sales terminal. So decentralized to centralized, so decentralized again centralized. So this is something that is going to happen, and this is very interesting to see. That's now when Edge AI is coming, is going to impact most of the IoT devices, because this has been centralized to the cloud. Now they don't have to go to the cloud and do everything on the edge.
Exactly. So, what are some of the other trends that you've noticed?
I mean, one of the interesting trend that I would say, that whenever we used to talk about Edge AI in the IoT segment, people used to limit it to tiny ML models. However, past 2 years, we are seeing the change, that it is not about any more tiny ML models. We are seeing the hardware is becoming capable. So the per compute cost is going down, and the per compute chipset computing capability is going up. So the cost is going down and the computing capability is going up. It's creating a very favorable position for IoT devices. Now the trend is basically here is that you are able to inference LLM models here. So it's not about just traditional AI models. You can able to inference LLM models at the edge. So the gateway is coming up. The gateway is becoming your hub of AI inferencing. So not only you will inference one model, you can use multiple AI models, maybe traditional AI model, LLM models together at the gateway. So that is the trend that we are seeing. Another trend that is talk about VLM is very interesting, but VLM combined with surveillance camera, that is the, I would say, very sweet spot. Because earlier when you used to have a surveillance, you used to go through the whole video footage and try to find out what you are able to find out. Now it is with just a natural language process. You have to ask who is wearing blue blazer in an event, and then you will able to find all the people who are wearing blue blazer there. Who is wearing this white shirt, and you will able to find out who are wearing white shirt in the event. So I think is something great, that you are using VLM with surveillance technology, and you are bringing this solution in a package that it makes the analysis much quicker, much faster.
Got it.
Yeah.
Was there anything about the company or about the market that we haven't mentioned yet that you'd like to bring up for our audience?
I mean, that's a very interesting question, because generally what happened whenever we talk about Edge AI, it's all about hardware. But that is not the case with the Edge AI anymore. It's all about being software as equal to hardware. Every company that we are working with, we are talking to, are focusing more heavily on the Edge AI software stack. One of the key example is Qualcomm. They acquired Edge Impulse because the Edge Impulse has a very good Edge AI software stack. Qualcomm had its own Qualcomm AI Hub, but the combination of Qualcomm and Edge Impulse makes more sense. Same thing we are seeing from multiple chipset vendor, Fibocom, and Microchip, and different companies. What they are doing is creating their own Edge AI stack. In the industrial environment, Siemens, they are also doing their own Edge AI stack. So this is a trend that we are seeing in the market, that Edge AI has not limited to hardware anymore. Everybody is doing hardware plus software together.
Got it. Yeah. Well, hey, I really appreciate you taking the time to come chat with us about this. There's a lot going on in this space, and we need somebody like you and your organization to help us get some clarity out of all of this. There's a lot going on.
Yeah, exactly. There are a lot of going on, and interesting times as well.
Interesting times.
Yeah.
Thanks again. I do appreciate you taking the time to chat with us.
Thanks, Alex. Thank you.